Today's SnowMotion chairlift interview is with five-time world champion Marc Girardelli. It's a lucky day for us here at SnowMotion.
Hi.
Hi, Marc. Thanks for riding the lift with us.
It's a great honor for me to be here in Beaver Creek with you, and it's such a beautiful day, and Colorado is something of the best I ever saw.
Tell me about what you're doing now after all this racing.
You know, in Europe we have also very beautiful ski areas. Naturally, I'm living in the Alps, in the eastern Swiss region. And I have about 15 to 20 corporate events with companies, with private clients. And from October to end of April, I am quite engaged with that kind of work. This is my principal occupation. Then I work for a company in Liechtenstein who produces therapy systems. And newly, I am busy with bomber skis, which I signed a contract with Robert Siegel, the owner from New York, and I'm very proud to be a part of this team because I tested these skis last spring in Aspen, and I was so surprised that such a small company can produce so good skis. And now we are developing new models. We are even in the racing department, and I think it will be a hell of a work to make this product, this brand, popular in Europe and in the States. I really like this kind of work. Every little plant has to grow slowly in the beginning, like bomber skis as well. And but I think exactly these first steps are the most impressive.
Exciting.
Because if you go to a big company, the carpet is already there. But here we are just making the first steps, like a baby. And that is really, really exciting, and I like this work.
They're nice looking.
The interesting thing is that we have also a partnership with two artists. The design of the skis is something very spectacular.
And how do you feel they carve?
They are excellent, you know. In 2 days anyway, we have a race, so I have to be in a good shape. Yeah. You know, I'm not the youngest competitor that day, but for sure not the slowest one.
Right. So many kids looked up to you as a racer because you worked so hard. I would love you to tell us what you did for training and why you worked hard.
Yeah, because for me, hard work and hard training was never a force. Never ever my parents had to force myself to train hard. Even when I was 10 years old in school, I was training for half an hour before I went to school. I went to the local track and field club. I was doing in the gym, everything, even in that age. And my father, he trained me on the slopes, in the snow. But he visited me maybe 5 times in dryland training. The rest I did by myself.
It's dedicated.
It is fun. Even now, I like to go on the bike. I like to hike in the mountains. And for sure, my physical shape is not like 20 years ago. But I like to really get my pulse to 180. 200 is not possible anymore, but 180 is still possible.
And what about your ski technique? Girardelli. I mean, geez.
Yeah, I know a lot of people, they remember my races from the past and they say, we could recognize you just because your style. And I cannot believe it, but it must be like this because I hear it from America, I hear it from Europe. And because I think the reason is that I trained always by myself. And I had never comparison with other racers like Stenmark, Zurbriggen, Armot, Tomba. These were competitors during my career. And they were all training with the team. And they had comparison during the training time in summer and autumn on the glaciers. I was mostly of my career alone. And that's why a special technique developed for me.
Lots of angles.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Okay, so the other story, which I always was telling this week, was about how you hurt your knee. Totally, it had to be reconstructed by Dr. Stedman.
Yeah.
In what year was that?
It was in 1983 in the downhill in Lake Louise in Canada. And I was a very young downhiller. I just tried to enter in the downhill because I was already successful in slalom and GS. And unfortunately, my third downhill was my destiny. I made a crash and my knee was completely dislocated. In the video I saw that the foot turned around, the knee turned around 360 degrees. So you can imagine what was broken. It was broken everything except the patella and the aorta.
Oh, and that's why you're alive. 'Cause they
No,
are.
the doctor in Austria who was working for the insurance company, he told me to look out for a job without stairs because I will not be able to walk stairs anymore.
And you came back the next year.
That was a great motivation. I was not 100% sure if he was paid by the Austrian Ski Federation then. But I had a successful season the next year. I won 5 slaloms, could beat Denmark in slalom. And the years after this injury, I have to admit, were the most successful ones.
Because do you think you just had to work harder to come back?
I worked like hell. I have to say, I made 3 sessions every day from about 2 hours. And the whole year was only from training. Physically, on the snow, and also my head was only focused on sport, on how can I get faster down this hill. And I think actually my destiny with this injury made me at the end so strong for so many years, because I know what does it need to become the best and what does it need to remain the best.
Sometimes things turn out for the best, even though you think they're hard at that time, right?
You know, for sure. I was not able to be always number 1, but at least I could manage it to make it 5 times, which is still record. But nevertheless, I think it's not the question how many trophies you have in the cupboard at home. I think the thing what remains in the head of the people that watch the races is the fight against the best. And my fights against Denmark, Zurbriggen, Amott and Tomba, I think that remains in the head of the people, and that's why...
Because it brought the excitement.
Yeah, exactly. The emotions at the screen, on the side of the race. And I think that is really the condiment of life.
Why did you leave Austria and race for Luxembourg?
Oh, that was a long story. I was only a child with 9, 10, 11 years. I was coming from the flatlands. The nearest lift was about 1 hour from our home. So I needed the help of my parents to go to ski, to train. And nearby in Austria there are a lot of academies like Green Mountain Valley School or Berg. And they had a lot of very young and good racers. But unfortunately, I was better than them. And they had a bad press in the media. But just to keep up the friendship, I couldn't race slower.
Right, I get it, yes. So it's all peaceful though.
Yeah.
They must have missed you. The Austrians would want you.
For sure. I was only 12 years old when I left the Austrian Federation for Luxembourg.
Yeah.
And real true friendships throughout my career didn't exist, but now we go and have a drink and we have a chat with the Austrian ski officials. But it is a collegial friendship, but not a deep one.
Yeah. Oh, I don't want the chairlift to end because I could talk to Marc Girardelli all day long.
It is a big pleasure with you, Brenda, and I hope we can make 1 or 2 runs together now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Okay, we're at the top. Let's start it, and thank you, Marc.
Thanks to you, Brenda. It was great.